Hello, you guys. Let's talk about Chapter 11, Lesson 2, bar graphs and circle graphs. So, bar graphs, you've seen these for a long time, but some things I want you to notice, that all these graphs have titles and we have to label the axes, okay, if it's appropriate. So look at the bar graph. Look at the x-axis. In this case, they were looking at trash that was left on the beach. And so they were looking at, for example, cigarettes and styrofoam and plastic. So they looked at different types of trash they found at the beach. That was the x-axis. Then the y-axis is how much of it was left. You know, how many items or pieces they picked up. A double bar graph is when we want to compare two things that are related. For example, they were looking at students who worked ages 14 to 18, so probably high school students. And notice that there's always a key with a double bar graph. So the blue represents the kids who worked and the purple represents the kids who did not work. And so on the x-axis, we'll see their ages, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. On the y-axis is the number of students they found. Okay, so the 14-year-olds, they looked at who worked and who did not work. The 15-year-olds, they looked at who worked and who did not work. So again, everything has to be labeled for a really good graph. Now a circle graph is kind of unique. That's, and obviously it's in the shape of a circle, but it's when you have 100% of whatever you're looking at. So in this case, this represents 100% of the people they surveyed for the favorite pizza toppings. And so you can see 50% is the majority, and that most people like pepperoni, and then 25% was cheese, and then 15% was sausage, and then 10% was a supreme. Okay, so these are the graphs we're going to be looking at. Okay, so let's look at example 1, making a bar graph. So the table shows the number of hurricanes that made direct landfall in 4 states. Make a bar graph of the data. Well, when they give you a table like this, I want you to notice, see how I did the X and the Y? The X is always the first item they gave us, the states in this case, and the Y are the actual number of hurricanes. And so I want you to go over in your note-taking guide, make the X-axis, show me that you see the X-axis, and that's the states, and they labeled it for you, and then show me the y-axis, and that's the number of hurricanes, and they labeled everything for you. And so they talk about in step 1, to decide how far to extend the y-axis, you have to look at the values. And so you notice that 59 is the largest number for Texas, so they know that the scale had to be larger than 60, so that's why they counted by tens, and notice how they went up to 70. And then for step number 2, they decided to count by tens. And step number 3, you title your bar graph and you label the scales. And so we did that. And so then, you know, for Georgia, I want you to go up to 20 and make a bar. And it's nice to put a 20 on top. For South Carolina, go up a little bit past 30 and make it 31 so we can see it. Texas, go up almost to 60 and make that 59. And Virginia, go up a little bit past 10 and make that 12 so we can see it. Okay, so this guided practice should be quick. Notice that the X goes with the months, so the X-axis should be labeled months, and the Y goes with the number of books read. Okay, and so for January, go up to 6 and make your bar and label it 6. February, go up to 5 and label it 5. March, go up to 3 and label it 3. April, go up to 1 and label it 1. And then they forgot to put a title. So let's put a title, and I just called it Total Books Read. Okay, so let's make a double bar graph here. It says team sports. Several classes of 7th and 8th grade students were asked to name their favorite team sport. The results are shown in the table. Make a double bar graph. Okay, so with a double bar graph, notice the X always comes first. So the X are going to be all the sports. And then there are 2 Ys. There's a 7th grade and an 8th grade. Okay, so, but you'll notice how the y-axis is just the number of students. So look here, I want you to go over the x-axis and label that sports, and then go over the y-axis and label that students. And now with 7th grade, let's use blue since that was the first color I grabbed. So for basketball, I want you to make a blue bar up to 30 for the 7th graders, and then change over to red, and for the 8th graders, let's go up to 21, okay? And so let's do the same thing for soccer. With your blue, go up to 25, and with your red, go up to 34. And then for volleyball, with your blue, go up to 10, and then with your red, go to 8. And then for hockey, with your blue, go up to 18, and then with your red go up to 6. Okay, now you must have a title, so let's call that favorite team sports, and you must have a key, otherwise this wouldn't be finished. And the key tells you how to read that, so tell them that the blue we made 7th graders, and the red we made 8th graders. Okay, look at example 3, interpreting a circle graph. That just means answer questions about it. This is about movies. The circle graph shows the number of each type of movie offered at a movie theater. For A, which type of movie is offered the most? Okay, so look over here, and if you wanted to find the most, obviously you want to find the biggest piece of the circle. And so to find the movie, to find which type of movie is offered most, find the largest section of the circle graph. The section for comedy is the largest, so that's the type of movie that was offered the most. And then for B, what type of movie is offered the least? Well, again, just look at the circle graph and find the smallest piece, and that's right here. And so we know that musicals were offered the least. Okay, so go ahead and lightly cross out example 4. We're not going to be making a circle graph at this time. And maybe you're going to put your movie clue somewhere over here that I'll mention later. Okay, and go ahead and lightly cross out example 2 here. Okay, and take a look at example 5 with me, choosing a data display. So they want us to choose an appropriate display. So look at table A. The table below shows the percent of holiday shopping done in stores or through catalogs or online. And so I want you to notice something. Whenever they give you a percentage, you always want to quickly add it up. And 52% plus 37% plus 11% is a total of 100%, okay? So make sure you add it up and just check that. And then take a look at B. The table below shows the results of a survey that asked people what film speed they use in their cameras. And so for the 100 speed, 20%, 200, 68%, 400, 53%, and 800, 15%. So that was a total of 156%. So that's more than 100%. So here's the answer to this. For example A, the percent totaled 100%. So you can use a circle graph. That's appropriate. In example B, the total was over 100%. So the best way to display that data would be a bar graph, okay? And the movie clue for today, I showed you where I wanted you to write it earlier. I just want you to tell me, what have you seen more of? Have you seen more bar graphs or double bar graphs or circle graphs when you look online or when you look in magazines or on television? Tell me, what type of graphs have you seen the most of?